You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. Go. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Go. Don't waste no time.
Checking out on me, Kadeem?
What do you mean?
Well, it looked like your camera was over here like, yo, I'm out of here. I'm not here for this episode.
That was a pure technical issue. I literally pressed record, and then for whatever reason, the camera was like, nah, don't want to see the beautiful face today. You know, sometimes it happens. Sometimes my beauty is just too much for the wonderful viewers of YouTube that, you know, it's just not prepared for it. So
I cannot. What you been up to, bro?
I have been sorting out my Miami Dolphins jerseys, forgetting there's some jerseys that I even had. Prime example, I totally forgot I had a Raekwon McMillan jersey. Totally forgot.
I think I could name all the jerseys you have, actually. Like, you got the Raekwon McMillan, you got Kenny Stills, you got Tannehill, you got Gesicki, you have 22 Javon Holland. You have, I want to say there's another receiver there. You got Zach Thomas. And there's another one. Who else you got?
Kiko Alonso, the one I met you in.
Kiko Alonso.
Jason Taylor. Ricky Williams. I have two Tua jerseys. I've got the 15, which says Daddy, and not Jaden Phillips or anyone. But I believe that's it. But I was literally going, the Kadeem curse is as real as it comes. And sometimes you kind of just forget that.
Bro, so you always know when we get a guest on the show, bro, it's like, it's not just fun for us. It's just, you never know how it's going to go. You know what I'm saying? And this, bro, we had Javon Holland on the show. We had William Hayes, Myles Gaskin, OJ McDuffie. You feel me? And then it's people like this that people be like, well, why is this guy one of your favorites that you wanted to get on the show? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that work? You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know how it works, but I know talent when I see it. You feel me? So the fact that we got this guy on the show, I cannot wait to chop it up with him. I hope you guys enjoy it. Y'all know what time it is. It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche.
Wow.
Flag on the play. Hey, I ain't never messed up the intro that bad. Charlie Touche. It's their favorite podcast, always for the fans and by the fans. What's up, man?
You said I'm Charlie Touche. You just say my coach Kadeem Simmons. Did I not get a shout out?
All right, so look, this is the first time I got a flag on the intro.
Get a shout out.
Hey, but look. In all fairness, we've had this podcast for 3 seasons. 3 seasons, bro. And this is the first time I messed up the intro. Unlike you, when you did it, bro, it was like, what is he even saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you even talking about right now? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, bro, every time you did the intro, it was like, you threw a pick. I just got a flag. I just got like an offside penalty. You actually threw picks whenever you did the intro.
You fumbled, and it got returned for 6. That's what you just did.
All right, you know what? I ain't gonna lie. I did fumble. I fumbled. It was more than the offsides, but you was throwing picks. As a matter of fact, this time last year, I'm glad we brought it up. This time last year, I was actually going through COVID, and I was down bad. For everyone who knows that follows the show, I was super down bad. I'm glad Kadeem just reminded me, because this is like a year ago today. I was really going through it. So, but look, let's bring the guests in on the show, because now I done fumbled the ball. This one went back for points. You feel me? But this is Zach Bush from Not the Best Drawings. Zach, what is up, bro?
How's it going, guys? Man, Charlie, I think I got you nervous, huh?
This guy, look, man, that's never happened, bro. I scramble in the pocket pretty good. I can, you know what I'm saying? I find the protection. I go through the reads. If something's covered, I can get up out of it. And this time I just dropped the ball, man. I don't know how I did that.
It happens, man.
How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I appreciate you guys having me on. I think you guys do some great work, so it's awesome to be invited on to a show like this. Yeah.
Man, we appreciate that, bro. And speaking of great work, so you are an artist, all right? And to in all fairness, I make music and I used to make music on like a professional level, but a lot of people don't consider like music artists actual artists, right? And again, you can find Zach's work on Not the Best Drawings at Not the Best Drawings, I should say. And if you see what's on YouTube right now, if you're listening to the audio version, we got YouTube up. Share, like, and subscribe, please, and thank you. He has the Blitz Boys, and this one kind of went viral because he got friend of the podcast Brandon Jones to wear it, and the actual Miami Dolphin account retweeted it or tweeted it. Right? I think they said,
Yes,
hey, Brandon Jones, where can we find that shirt?" So talk to us about this piece right here and how it went viral.
Yeah, so I guess going back, I started this Instagram just as a way for me to post my drawings and have it as a place to keep the files so I don't have to store it all on my computer. And then it grew into just kind of just this little mini Miami Dolphins community because I draw what I like, and I have a burning passion for the Miami Dolphins. So I just started doing some designs. I got to do some merch for like Albert Wilson when he was on the team, Jakeem Grant, Devontae Parker, with just little drawings like this, simple cartoonish doodles, and then fast forwarding to get to the question you asked me.
No, you good, bro.
This one specifically, one of my friends. He runs a huge Miami Dolphins Instagram. It's at FinZone. He hit me up. We've collabed. We've done a few merch lines together. And he actually has a lot of connections with players. So when Javon Holland, who you guys apparently have talked to, I need to go back and watch that one. That's pretty sick.
Bet.
When Javon posted something on his story about like how he wants Blitz Boy shirts, FinZone referred me to them, and I was able to do it. FinZone sent out a shirt to him, and he wore it. And the Dolphins tweet about it, which was sick.
Bro, so we're uncovering a lot of stuff just now.
Yeah.
So the fact that you actually know FinZone, everyone, I think if you don't know the FinZone account on Twitter and IG, your credibility as a Dolphin fan via social media might be shot right now. So FinZone, shout out to FinZone. They actually rock with us as well. So I'm pretty sure y'all gonna be checking this out. Shout out to FinZone. We rock with y'all too. So FinZone, y'all actually have a relationship, and you just said how it came together, which is incredibly dope.
Yes,
right?
sir.
And I was actually about to say before I fumbled again, so I got a couple turnovers on this episode. This is the first episode with multiple turnovers by me, and Kadeem cannot say the same. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying I had to put it out there just to save my face a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah,
so look, so as a musician, people are like, oh man, you make your music pretty dope. So I'm like, all right, thanks. But as a musician, when I look at artists like people who draw or paint or can create from a blank canvas, I think it's a different type of art, bro. Like I think like, how do you have the eyes to see that? You know what I'm saying? With music, there's theory behind it. And I'm sure there's theory in drawing as well, but there's you can hit certain chords and keys in music to create. But in art, a lot of this stuff comes from blank canvas and people just see what they see and then bring it to life. How does that work from an artist's perspective?
Yeah, well, it's funny because, man, I'm the complete opposite. I have no musical talent whatsoever. So when I hear people who are able to do these awesome songs or beats or what have you, I get amazed because I have no ear for any sort of musical talent. So it's pretty funny how we're just completely flipped. For me, I just kind of like find stuff that people enjoy seeing, looking at, trendy stuff, and I kind of think about how I can incorporate it into a drawing, specifically a dolphin thing. So I worked as a content intern at my college, the University of Central Florida, UCF. And so that was kind of part of my job was coming up with cool content. So anytime there was something like Stranger Things comes out or the new Thor movie comes out, it was like, how can we take the hype for this movie and kind of warp it into our brand, which is UCF, And it's just always something I've kind of had a natural eye talent for. But I mean, that's the start of most of my processes with the drawings. It's just like, I like this style. How can I make it kind of my own, bring the Dolphins into it and just make it into something pretty cool. Like this back here. I was a kid and the Duck song came out. So that's always been something that stuck with me. I watched that creator make a lot of cool like Lego videos and stuff like that. But this is one of his biggest videos is the Duck song. So when we got Waddle and he started, doing the Waddle dance, it was just kind of like an instant thing to click. And I know other Dolphin fans had the same idea. I've seen edits with, just Jalen Waddle's face like cut onto it. Dolphin Central sells shirts like that. I don't sell this one, but I wanted a flag for myself in my apartment, so printed it. But just that's an example of how I come up with ideas is I take something I like and just warp it into like a Miami Dolphin themed thing.
Jump in, Kadeem.
No, I feel like so me being who I am in my head I was like, we've got someone who's musical, like musician, we have an artist, and I'm like, what can I do? I'm not that creative. I was like, well, I literally write for a living. Like words are my thing. I can't sing, I can't draw, but I can write, I guess. And no, I was just looking at a lot of your work, and it genuinely is incredible. Like the one of Mike McDaniel is brilliant. Kasiki doing the gritty is again excellent. This one of Tyreek Hill is just absolutely cold, and it's one of those things where you see a lot of the stuff, and be it getting it on, I don't know, cards or T-shirts or posters or whatever. Like it's the kind of thing which I don't know if you do that, but I live in the UK. Would it be possible for me? Like this is just brilliant. Like it's not even a question. I just can't not praise how talented you are. How
I appreciate it, man.
How difficult is it to do this, or is it something in which you, at this stage, it takes you an hour to do? Like, I'm not trying to discredit, not discredit, but like
no, I get what you mean. I've been drawing since I was a kid. My dad, he drew and did shirt designs, so I just I feel like naturally got that talent from him. And I would draw teachers back in the classroom, doodle on all the homework assignments. So it's just something I've kind of had. I got into digital illustrations when I got this computer I'm on right now 5 years ago when I was about to go to college. And then I bought an iPad and I used Procreate. So it's something, like you said, an hour. If you look at the latest one with the Chubb design, I was on a flight to Indy for a work event. And I just had, an hour and a half to kill time because I didn't have Wi-Fi or anything on the plane. So I just pulled out my iPad and was able to do that because I know he's like, his @ is the astronaut, that's incredible how he has the handle astronaut. Like how do you get that, but just coming up with stuff like that whenever the opportunity presents itself. So yeah, it does take like an hour, 2 hours nowadays. Simple stuff like that. The Tyreek one will take a little bit more time.
So if you guys are listening, we got drawings up on YouTube right now. It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche, co-host Kadeem Simmons, and we got Zach Bush of Not The Best Drawings on right now. And I realized I still didn't shout out Kadeem halfway through the episode, so I had to get his name in there. So I heard you drop is it the Golden Knights? UCF, right? Is it Golden?
It's just the Knights. They used
it's
to
just
be
the
Golden.
Knights.
Yeah,
but it used to be Golden Knights.
It used to be, but
okay.
If you say Central Florida or if you say Golden Knights, UCF fans will get mad. So it's the UCF Knights. Yep.
Oh, that's why I'm out of the loop. But so
Yeah.
Are you from Florida originally?
No, I'm originally from New Mexico. I was born and raised right next to the Navajo Reservation, which is a Native American reservation. It was pretty rough out there. So my dad, who's from Florida, wanted to move us back to kind of like a better area to grow up in when I was going to high school and college. So moved to a little small town called Palaca, which is in between Jacksonville and Orlando.
Palaca, bro, I got to cut you off, bro.
You know Palaca?
Listen. I know Palaca, bro. Like,
no way.
Listen. I had a girlfriend from Palaca.
Oh man, you messed up, Charlie.
Listen, and when I went, it was like back in the day, it was like a dirt road. It was like dirt road still.
Yeah.
And then they didn't even have street lights on the dirt roads. And I had, I kind of catch myself thinking about Palaca, like, they gotta be real roads out there by now. Like,
there is. You probably just went for a woods ride, man. That sounds like that's what we call it.
That's crazy. So how did you become a Dolphin fan, bro?
My dad, he grew up in Miami. He was there for the 72 season. He was like a 12-year-old kid or something like that. And I guess that's just when the passion, went into him, and he carried me around for all the years and wound up in New Mexico, had me as a kid. And then he just kind of gave me the Dolphin. My name's Zachariah. I was technically kind of supposed to be named after Zach Thomas. But
I kind of thought that's where we were going, but I wasn't sure, so I want to put that on you. But that's
my dad kind of gave it a biblical twist, because around that time I was born, like Ray Lewis was being, investigated for murder or whatever, and he's like, can't really name him after a football player. You never know what's going to happen. So
that's funny.
Zachariah. Yeah.
There it is. You got something else, Kadeem?
Yeah. So I guess Dolphins fan your entire life. What do you make of Mike McDaniel's Dolphins, given just a start, and what did you make of his hiring in general, I guess?
I'm not going to lie, man. I'm not going to be a person who sits up here and says, oh, I loved it. I didn't like it at first. I wanted a coach that was experienced. I really wanted Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, Jim Harbaugh. I was trying to figure out which one it was. Jim Harbaugh from Michigan. I thought he had an amazing NFL career as a head coach. I think he's like 40-something and 11. And it was like, I was really mad at Stephen Ross for picking his college over the Dolphins, since he didn't want to poach Jim from Michigan. And then when we hired Mike, it's just like, man, like, how many times are we going to hire these coordinators who are inexperienced? It just like was a disaster waiting to happen, I felt like. But then, obviously he grew on me. He's obviously like really cool. I never didn't like him personally. It was just, I thought he was going to be a failure. He got in there and he started doing a lot of stuff that I really started liking. When he got Tyreek, that's when I actually started getting excited, because I knew he is a very creative-minded head coach. I was more scared of how he's going to build the coaching staff and stuff like that. But he started hiring some really good hires like Wes Welker. He kept Boyer around, which, it's kind of shaky right now, but initially I was pretty hyped about. The coaching staff looked good, so I started putting a little more trust in them. We got Tyreek, and ever since the first game, I'm full Mike McDaniel faith now.
Hey, so I got a question for both of you guys, and Zach, we'll let you go first.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you? And this is we're almost there now. And a couple of weeks ago, Tua was out, and then he came back. First game he came back, and a lot of people were saying, "Bro, we haven't lost with Tua yet this year." And my thought, and I was talking to one half of the Barracuda boys, me and LB, I'm like, bro, who was the last MVP to win MVP and miss a game during the season, right? So that's not the question that I have for you, but that was my thought process.
It's a good trivia question, though. I don't know.
It's got to be. We need answers. So the question that I have for the two of you is, who is more important to the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill or Tua for this season? Like right now, who's more important to us? For us, I guess.
I say, if one of them was to get suspended or whatever and couldn't play the rest of the season, which one would I rather not have? Probably Tyreek. I think Tua is just, I don't know what it is about him, man, but he just wins games. Yeah. When he had a supporting cast that was, Jakeem Grant, Isaiah Ford, he was still winning games and battled it out with Mahomes and the Chiefs, like had a shootout with them.
Hold on. Is that a thing? Did that really happen?
Yeah, his rookie year, he had a shootout with the Chiefs. I think it was 33-27, and it was like Albert Wilson,
and practice squad receivers.
Yeah, Albert Wilson wasn't in that. I can't disrespect my boy like that. It was Isaiah Ford. People like that. Lynn Bowden Jr. So
that game, his best receiver was Mike Gesicki, and his running back was Andre Washington.
You know what? The reason why I brought that up, well, you brought it up, but I had to go to it because we always bring it up on this podcast. Like, did we forget that that Tua played against Mahomes with the practice squad and was only down 7 with 4 minutes to go in the game, right? Yeah. So the year after that, we get Waddle, and people are like, oh, well, we have a receiver now. I'm like, yo, we have one receiver now. Let's go get another one, right? Like, and then, well, why do you need so many? Like, if you see what Tua did with one receiver, why would you not give him another one to see what happens, right? And I'm like, yo, I could go for another one. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to spend all this money on the receiving core, but if we found another receiver in the draft in the 4th round that happened to fall or something, I'm all for it. We could go for 4,500 or 50 or the record 5,500 yards passing. You know what I'm saying? I believe Tua is capable, but I didn't let you answer the question or finish the question of Tyreek and Tua. Who's more important to the team? Well, who's is more important, I guess. Is it Tua? Is it Tyreek? I'm not sure.
I definitely believe it's Tua. I definitely believe it's Tua. What about you, Kadeem?
Yeah, it's one of those things where heading into the season, there were fans. I don't know if they're genuine fans, but there was fans who were saying, Teddy should be the starter. Can't trust Tua, all that kind of stuff. And then Skylar Thompson had a great preseason. You can't take it away from him. On the show, he was like, it's a great preseason, but he's playing against people who will probably won't get another NFL snap. And when it comes to live games against defenses that are, blitzing, bluffing coverage and stuff like that, how is he going to look? We don't know. So you had people saying, start Skylar Thompson, start Teddy Bridgewater. This team will win because of Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and though they were the better quarterbacks. And not trying to discredit either Teddy or Skylar Thompson, but this team played games with, I don't think either of them actually finished the game, but both of them played enough snaps in the game that Tua was out. The team lost both those games. And I think very quickly, if not against the Bengals, the following game, people were like, okay, we need Tua back. And I think again, that's not to discredit Tyreek Hill. He is having what looks like an all-time, NFL season, likely to break a number of records on top of the ones he's already broken. This team is just not the same with Tua. And I think even his detractors in the media are now starting to say, they're not admitting that they're wrong, but they're saying, it's a matter of, look what he's doing pre-snap, look how he's looking off defenders to open up these tight windows and all that kind of stuff. And you're still going to get people like Skip Bayless saying that Tyreek Hill was having such a great season that he's making Tua look good. It's like, let's not do this. But I think, Tua started this season, the question around him was, is he even the best Dolphins quarterback, in the building? And halfway through the season, the question is he not just a dark horse? Is he a front runner for the MVP? That's with him missing 3 games. It's remarkable the season he's having right now.
So I think you said it right there, Kadeem. And for me, just simply put, you lost every game without him. You won every game with him. That's just simply put. And my question is, like, what else? What else is an MVP? Like, MVP means most valuable player, right? So you're gonna have Mahomes in the conversation. You're gonna have Josh Allen in the conversation. But this is where I can make an argument for Tyreek. And my answer is Tua is more important to the team. But this is where I make an argument for Tyreek Hill. And it's funny because it's almost like a consolation prize. You can say Tyreek Hill will break all these records, go over 2,000 yards receiving, and hopefully he does it in 16 games. So it'll be there will be no asterisk and no one will say, oh, well, he had an extra game. Hopefully he does it in 16, right? If he does it. And then he'll blow the number out of the water. And what I'm hoping is, I hope Tyreek does kind of get MVP, because it's still credit to Tua, but at the same time, all the time, like Cooper Kupp for my dollar was MVP last year, and they didn't give Cooper Kupp the MVP. And I'm like, that's crazy. Look what the man did. But now it's like, well, look what Tyreek Hill is doing. So it's almost like everybody wins someone other than a quarterback actually wins MVP this year. And if it's Tyreek Hill, then there's a big nod to Tua for it, right? So I kind of, to answer my own question, I think it is Tua, but at the same time, one could make the case like, yo, the man missed 3 games and he's still like third in the MVP conversation. So if that's not an MVP, I don't know what is. We got questions up on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, as well as on YouTube. And this question came from T-Boat87. How worried about the defense are you? If we make the playoffs, I fear they'll cost us big. Back to Zach, bro. You're the guest. Are you worried about the defense?
I am worried about the defense. However, I still have this weird confidence in them that they're going to be able to step up when they're needed to. I don't think it's the 2020 defense we've seen or the 2021 defense that we're used to that just used to dominate games. But I mean, they still have some really good athletes that can just make plays, playmakers. There's just something like missing from it. You know what I mean? Like X is just looking a little off. I know he's dealing with injuries. I know the secondary's been torn apart with injuries, but it just doesn't feel like they have the same fire, the same excitement. However, I do think that when push comes to shove in the playoffs, if it's a shootout, they can definitely, get 1-2 turnovers that can help make the offense have the opportunity to win the game. I don't see us being able to win games like we did against Buffalo early on, where it's going to be like a 16-13 in the playoffs. I think it's going to be some shootout kind of games in the playoffs, especially away games. I don't see our defense being able to step up and really be the factor to win us the game, but hopefully it can be serviceable enough to allow the offense to just get enough opportunities to like outscore the other team.
It's funny, Zach, because sometimes we have fans that come on the show and just random fans. We just might pluck a fan like, "Hey, come slide," right? In this case, like you're more than just a fan. Why we wanted to get you on this podcast, but we don't know. We ask the safest questions. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to put anybody on the spot. But it looks like you know your stuff. We don't got to worry about you not being an authentic fan. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely do a little more than just watch the games on Sundays, man. Like every single day I'm taking in Dolphin content. So
that's what's up, man. That's what's up. What you got, Kadeem?
I spent the first few weeks defending the defense. I was saying, okay, they might have given up 500 total yards against the Buffalo Bills, but held them to a certain amount of points. Okay, they might have given up a certain amount of points against the Ravens, but at the end of the game they shut them down. The last, not the Lions game, the 2 weeks before. Okay, they had a really bad first half, but they picked up in the second half. There's way too many buts in those conversations, and it kind of gets to a point where even if you kind of go, okay, but they're missing, a Byron Jones, they're missing a fully healthy Xavier Howard, they're now missing one half of the blitz boys. Again, still way too many buts. It's one of those situations where the Dolphins genuinely do preach next man up. During the preseason or during training camp, Dolphin fans were super excited to see True Williams. Sound like he's having an amazing camp. He went down injured. Out of nowhere, Kadekoru comes in. Looks like, it is next man up. My issue is that for the last few years, we've really struggled against mobile quarterbacks. We've made way too many mobile quarterbacks look like Michael Vick. And it's one of those situations where it's like, what is it about these mobile quarterbacks which we can't stop? There were question marks around who really was calling the defense last year. Was it Josh Boyer? Was it Brian Flores? How much influence did Joe Alexander have? Some people will say, okay, we now kind of know that it was Brian Flores, kind of, the mastermind behind this defense. Some people again will turn around and say, well, if you get a fully healthy, secondary, you can really start seeing that Amoeba, cover zero blitz. And I don't know if that is the case because we're not quite getting the production out of Emmanuel Ogba. I think this defense is really worrying me. And yes, Tua is playing MVP level football. Yes, Tua is completely elite, in third down situations. All it takes is, like we saw against the Bears. All it takes is us to miss out on a third down or fourth down, and a better team than the Chicago Bears to drive down the field and score a touchdown. Even looking at Buffalo game, yes, we won, but that's because Josh Allen missed a wide open touchdown as opposed to the defense doing something. So for weeks now, I've been saying, can we start playing complementary football in terms of special teams make plays, defense make plays, offense make plays? I genuinely worry when we make the playoffs and play a semi-decent team that can move the ball and don't have a bunch of deficiencies that the Lions and the Bears have, it might be a bit too much for Tua. Yes, I'd love a shootout, but I want to win the shootout. I'm not quite sure the defense will enable us to do that.
Man, it's crazy that we finally have an offense that you don't worry about. Like, you know what? Offense will take care of us. Offense will bail us out, right? I'm talking. There's a stat like the Dolphins haven't had a top 10 offense since 1998 or something. It's the wildest thing. So here's my thing about the defense. And I know I picked the offense the whole time, like this whole off season, like, I'd rather have the offense on the field than the defense with 2 minutes left type thing. But at the same time, our defense isn't trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not complete trash. It's just they're completely inconsistent. That's what it really is. So, yeah, injuries aren't an excuse. At the same time, there have been times this season against Baltimore, against Buffalo, as bad as we looked in Baltimore, they still had times where they didn't lay down. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, they still came through for us. So we have I don't want to say sneaky good because that's not it, but we have a defense where if the game is on the line, I can't say that I like them to come through for us, but I still expect them to come through for us. You know what I'm saying? We're not the bottom of the barrel 32nd ranked defense in the league, and we need to rebuild next year. So it's unfortunate that we're not performing as good as we can on defense. But at the same time, to answer T-Boat 87's question, I'm a little bit worried about the defense. I really am a little bit worried about the defense. Hopefully and you know what's funny is the way the team was built, it was built so the Dolphins, the offense can go up 10 points, 13 points, and then the defense won't even let you back in the game. Like, oh yeah, our defense is good enough where we get a 13-point lead, game's over. And that's not the case right now. So I am a little concerned. I'm not overly concerned. At any given drive of the game, they can be bend but don't break. But right now we're breaking a lot. So I feel like we shouldn't panic. We shouldn't panic. That's one. We shouldn't panic with the defense. But that's where we are. You got something? You got something, Zach? You want to throw something at us?
I think you mentioned the fact that we used to, get 10 points, 13 points, and we won the game, basically. I'm thinking back to like when we beat the 49ers during the COVID year when we won like 47-10 or something like that. Mm-hmm. Against the Panthers last year when we just kind of blew them out. And it's like, man, why can't – it does suck. It's like we finally have an offense that can score some points. Why now is our defense breaking? It's like – if you could just combine the two, 2020 defense, 2022 offense, it's like this team is easily like a legit contender. Whereas now, like you mentioned, we got to kind of worry about the defense breaking a little bit.
Hey, Jeff Wilson Jr. looked pretty good, Kadeem. Like first game in the aqua and orange, it kind of felt like this was the 1-2 punch that we hoped Chase Edmonds would have brought with Raheem Mostert. And I got to imagine we paid Chase Edmonds $7.5 million to be the one of the 1-2 punch. So now that we got Jeff Wilson Jr., it looks like, this is what a 1-2 punch is supposed to look like. What did you think about it, Kadeem?
Yeah, definitely. Like as the game was progressing and I was seeing Wilson get more and more touches, I was like, is Raheem Mostert hurt? Like, have I missed something? And Mostert wasn't hurt. It was just McDaniel was riding, the hot hand. And it's interesting because as far as I knew heading into that game, Wilson didn't have the best hands. He wasn't trash, but it was like the way the way Edmonds was described, excellent route runner, excellent hands, made it come out of the backfield. But that was wrong because he had way too many drops. Wilson, obviously had the touchdown catch and stuff like that. Wilson looked like, and I think I said it when we drafted him, it's one of the situations where hopefully Mostert can come out for whatever reason and the run game doesn't completely stall like what's happened in previous weeks. It might mean that, unfortunately, friend of the podcast, Mars Gaskin, doesn't dress most weeks, which is unfortunate because I still think he has something to add to this team. But, if we can get that kind of production out of Jeff Wilson, going forward, we have a genuine 1-2 punch. And again, hopefully it means that, we can start running the ball more, which then means teams, start to stack the box because they're worried about genuine runs. And then all of a sudden, the pass game opens up even more, which right now, I'm not even sure that's possible. Zach, what did you make of Jeff Wilson's debut for the Dolphins?
Yeah, no, he looked nice. And like you mentioned, his hands, that was something that we were kind of missing when Edmonds would drop some crucial balls. I think Wilson exceeded my expectations. I wasn't super excited when we traded for him. I thought it was just another running back who's kind of, not going to blow you away, running back one immediate. But he definitely looks good. And I agree that Mostert and him could be a nice little duo. But you mentioned Gaskin not dressing, and it got me thinking, how many running backs usually dress for this Mike McDaniel's team? Because we got Ahmed still, right?
Yeah. So typically, well, you threw a caveat in there. You said Mike McDaniel's team, but typically 4 running backs usually dress. Now, the thing is, since McDaniel's been here, we have a fullback, and he's like the 4th running back that dresses. So Ahmed usually dresses. Mostert is RB1, and then now it would be Jeff Wilson Jr. So then you have the tight ends also, where not every team keeps 5 tight ends, and I think we kept 5 of them, Kadeem, right? We had Tanner Connor, Smythe, Gesicki, I'm missing
Carter,
somebody.
right?
No. Carter got hurt. He got hurt, yeah.
Okay.
He got hurt, and Hunter Long, right? So we kept 5 tight ends. That's unorthodox to keep 5 tight ends and a fullback, and then you kept 3 running backs. So because it's Mike
and
McDaniel,
3 quarterbacks as well,
and 3 and we kept 3 quarterbacks. So because it's Mike McDaniel, one of these running backs aren't dressing because we have so many things somewhere else. And unfortunately, it's friend of the podcast, 40 Acres and a Hellcat. Man, I forgot where it was going. Did I interrupt you? I'm sorry. Did I mess around and drop the ball again?
Me?
Are you good?
I wish we kept Patrick Laird. I'll say that, man.
The intern.
He follows my page. We talk. I was really sad when we let Patrick Laird walk, man. But he's on the Bucs practice squad.
I was just about to say he went to Tampa. He went to Tampa. So look, I got something for both of y'all, and we'll end it here. I'm not really a social media guy. If you look at my IG, it's not that much movement. If you look at my Twitter, it's not that much movement. But because we have the podcast, Go Time Dolphins, shout out to the social media team. I have to stay up to date, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really interested in pop culture, right? But I'll be real with you. It's a little interesting right now on Dolphins Twitter. All right. And there's a civil war going on Dolphins Twitter. They just can't get along for whatever reason. People don't want to accept the fact that Tua is actually that dude. But okay, it is what it is. I got a question for y'all boys, because I know, Kadeem, you're way more Twitter savvy than I am. And Zach, I'm not sure how much you're on Twitter, but I know you're on social media, and this question is still relevant for you. But there's a Twitter account out there called Dolphins Receipts. And the Twitter account is just refreshing and bringing up old tweets from people that have negative Dolphin takes and negative Tua takes. Oh, remember when this person said this? And I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not a fan of bullying. I don't think you should bully anybody, even if it's on social media in person. Don't bully people. But I don't mind someone getting held accountable for what they said a year ago about the Dolphins. How y'all boys feel about that?
You want to go, Kadeem?
No, I'll let you go. I think I might ramble on a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a person who thinks that you should, go back on your word. I think you can admit that you're wrong. Like I said with McDaniel, I didn't like the hire, but I feel like I'm pleasantly wrong, at least for right now. Hopefully, we continue with that. Just own up to it. I don't. So I'm cool with that page exposing people that are, kind of snakily faking being a fan now when they were hating back then. But if someone kind of comes out and admits that they're wrong, like, oh, well, I'm glad I'm wrong, then you can kind of leave them alone.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
hey,
a,
at
that's,
least
that's
they're
a little bit
owning
different.
to it. Yeah,
That's a little bit different. It's been some pretty good stuff out there, man.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
so
I'm sure,
it's
man.
at Finn's Receipts. So and I'm gonna let you go, but at Finn's Receipts, y'all check them out on Twitter. There's been some people exposed, and then they come back and say, "Oh, not really," and I meant it like this, and I'm like, "Nah, bruh, nah." But what you
I
got,
will
Kadeem?
say this,
Oh,
man.
go ahead.
I was getting really sick this time last year of all the Deshaun rumors and just everyone just completely bashing Tua, because I've been a Tua fan since day one. I have not actually like gone off of the Tua train. And I'm happy that it's like he's exceeding my expectations. So like, yeah, seeing people go just a total 180 from Tua's a bust, we needed Herbert, to now saying, oh, well, Tua should be an MVP candidate. It's like, man,
Yeah.
you were just talking about how you
Yeah.
wish we didn't draft him. Like, come on.
Like, yeah, and you try to trade him to Houston.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For a guy who does some shady stuff. Yeah.
But hey, if you stick around long enough, Zach, you're gonna see an episode of me, Kadeem, and one of our friends, Sherrod Steve. We got to do a quarterback rankings episode, and I know everybody's gonna tune into that one. But I'm just saying. But go ahead, Kadeem. What you got about Finn's Receipts?
I was gonna mention like the quarterback episode. I'm surprised someone hasn't dragged me for what I said in our last quarterback rankings. And my whole thing is, listen, everyone's entitled to an opinion. If you can give a take, an opinion, and you can not just justify, I wouldn't say justify, but you can say, I said this because of X, Y, and Z. I'm like, cool, fair enough. Obviously, Twitter doesn't allow for that. It's 140 characters or whatever it is. So it's very difficult to justify and make sense of your opinion and stuff like that. I will openly say, when we had our quarterback rankings, I had Tua 20th, and I had guys like Mac Jones, and I think I had Trevor Lawrence ahead of them.
Yeah, I hope you had Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence ahead of Tua. Kadeem?
I did, but again, I justified it on the episode. We obviously had a massive disagreement over it, but I justified. I wasn't saying that if I was starting a franchise, I would take Mac Jones over Tua. I was saying, in my opinion, Mac Jones played the better football than Tua.
Hey, how long ago was this?
This was this offseason, like basically probably around April-ish.
Okay.
About April.
If when we do this again in April, whenever it is, if I have Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers over Tua, then you're like, Kadeem, what's wrong with you? Do you know what I mean? So I have no issue if you're going to bring up someone's opinion and the reason behind that opinion, it would be like, yo, that wasn't even right then, let alone being right now. So prime example, saying that, or looking at Tua's performance last year and not factoring the play calling, all that kind of stuff, and just saying he's a bad quarterback. And when someone turns around and go, well, look at the system, look at the receivers, go, nope, it doesn't matter, he's a bad quarterback. You give him Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, he's still going to be bad. It's like, let's not do this. I do think some of the takes are, like I said, people who might have been unhappy about something and they're kind of getting dragged now. It's like, yo, bit harsh, bit of bullying. What I will say, if they're listening and they want to drag me that, completely fine. I will back my corner. I will say, yo, come on the show and we can hash it out. So yeah, it's some of them are fun, some of them are a bit like, but it's one of those things where I think a lot of the Tua fans or Miami Dolphin fans are kind of at a point where even if what you said wasn't that bad, you kind of fall into the, I guess, delusional part of NFL, and it's just like, nah. Even if you try and defend it, you're way too far gone. So
I'll be real with you. Like, yeah, man, I'm not a fan of bullying, like ever, any level. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to, you know what, Kadeem, I'm gonna be real with you. The reason why no one has come for you yet is because they're like, I trust Charlie. He's gonna take care of it in due time, and believe me, I will. And they know it, so that's why they're probably like, you know, Kadeem's gonna get his. You feel me? So no one has to just grab a clip and throw you on Twitter for it. But for the other people, here's how I feel about the receipts coming out on Twitter. Yeah, you can't, you know, listen, I'm gonna be real with you. If the person doesn't have an Avi or, you know, profile picture, you probably shouldn't entertain that person. I'm gonna be real with you. All right. This person could be a 12-year-old, you know what I'm saying? Just rapping, and you over here trying to defend your take against a 12-year-old, against a 12-year-old. My bad, I gotta go to work. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? So listen. Yeah, I don't really entertain people without Abbies. Like, if you're gonna put your face on it and you're gonna put your name on it, I do not mind going back and forth and having a healthy debate. Like, hey, let's do this. This is cool. You know what I'm saying? So when here's how I feel about the whole, you know, accountability and people retweeting randos and having them defend themselves. If you put it out there on Twitter and you had this take on Twitter, I think you should be able to defend that take on Twitter. It's not like we're asking you to defend it somewhere else. You put it here for us to see it. So you should defend it for us to see it. That's all I'm saying. If it's that bad of a take, you gotta fall on the sword. No one's saying take you to court. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what was up with this? And then you could come back and say, I blew it, man. I was tripping. You know what I'm saying? And then that's it. But I do agree, Kadeem. Sometimes some people take it too far, and that's you never want to see that. But man, when it's enjoyable, it is enjoyable. I've been on Twitter the past couple of days. I'm like, oh man, this is some good stuff right here, for real. So, hey, Zach, before we let you go, man, we're about to get into bonus time. We appreciate you coming on, man. Like, I appreciate the content that you have on social media, bro. Like, even you know, you mentioned what you have behind you, and for our audio listeners, there's a flag that he has of a duck with a Miami Dolphins jersey uniform, a whole uniform on, and a sleeve on it on his wing. Like, this is epic right here. So yeah, man, we appreciate you coming on, bro. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so my Instagram is at NotTheBestDrawings. Twitter is at NTB Drawings. I had to shorten it because Twitter wouldn't let me do the whole thing. Other than that, you know, if you want to follow my personal, it's at zach.arai.a. But yeah, other than that, not too many places. I will be having a store. I know Kadeem mentioned it. I will be having a store where you can get a lot of my designs. I work for a company that does screen printing, embroidery, sublimation, stuff like that. So I will be starting my own little side business through that, and it'll be coming very soon. I already have a little Teespring in my drawing account bio, but this one's going to be a lot more legit and it's going to be a lot better quality. So
yeah. Zach from Not the Best Drawings, bro. So we're going to have some merch coming out too. We're going to have to collab, bro.
Dude, we can collab. Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Fin Zone too, because I had no idea y'all rock with each other like that. Well, I seen, you know, a couple posts and stuff, but I didn't know you guys actually had a relationship, man. Shout out to Fin Zone. But y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons and Zach from Not the Best Drawings, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time.
So this is a bit of fun, I guess. Tyreek Hill has changed his profile picture on Twitter. This is his new profile picture.
Hey, so everyone listening to the audio version, Tyreek Hill changed his Abby on Twitter to a picture of Tua, not just Tua, but Tua got a little meme mug going on. It's like a partial meme mug and like, oh, I'm in the building. You know what I'm saying? And I think Tyreek Hill has just come out today or yesterday and saying that he's Tyreek Hill said Tua is the best in the building, like best in the league. So yeah, man. Cheetah is definitely a character.
Yeah.
Did y'all see what Waddle posted yesterday on his Instagram? It was like Tua with a grill.
Oh yeah. So shout out to Achille Apparel. Achille Apparel actually has that on one of their shirts. Achille Apparel is pretty cool. I think his war ready. Got a couple of teammates and Tua in the middle with the grill. Look like Tua got 32 goals in his mouth for sure. Bro, so on Mic'd Up, Raheem Mostert said morale on this team is different. And it's funny because I always thought that was the case with the Miami Dolphins. You got Gesicki, you got Christian Wilkins. Like those two, like you can't ever see those two angry or upset. Like you just they just come off as unique individuals. And even in the Flores-led Dolphins team, the morale still seemed like it was pretty good. Like I seen, for example, we had the 7-game losing streak, and everybody's like, "Oh, this team gave up." I'm like, it doesn't seem like this team gave up. Yeah, we lost these games, but in those games, it didn't look like they cashed it in 1-2-3 Cancun. It still felt like the morale was pretty good. So here comes Raheem Mostert talking about, man, the morale on this team different. I ain't never seen nothing like this on his Mic'd Up. You guys go check it out. Zach, bro, how do you feel about the chemistry of the locker room right now, the morale of the team, and where do you think we can go? How far can we go this year?
Well, man, you mentioned it. You know, we had Christian Wilkins, Mike Gesicki, and you throw Mike McDaniel in there. I am like, we better have some cameras filming this and making a documentary, because it feels like there's just some moments that, you know, you cannot not see as a fan of this team, because there's just some characters in the building. And what's awesome about it is it does translate to the field. You see people really, bond and connect. And, I saw Mostert and Wilson after Wilson's first touchdown. I'm like, man, like, why is Mostert so hyped? And then I realized, like, they were teammates a few months ago back in 49ers. So McDaniel's definitely, he knows how to build something through relationships, which I think Flo was kind of the opposite. He builds stuff through, what kind of logically makes sense. McDaniel's more of a relationship kind of guy, and it really shows. But man, last point I'll make is Gesicki. You mentioned he's never mad. He's been through so much stuff on this Miami Dolphins team with trade talks. Every single time there's trade talks, he's like the big name. He hasn't gotten an extension. I am praying that we give him an extension, because, man, I would just hate to see Gesicki have to walk. Like, he's just such a cornerstone for this franchise, I feel like, at this point.
We talked about it at length on this podcast. Gritty Gesicki, bro. I need that in my life. You know what I'm saying? Gesicki got to bring the gritty back and just say, forget everybody who don't want to see it. What'd you make of the morale on this team, Kadeem?
Yeah, listen, I'm sure every team, has high morale. Every team wants the team. Every team had to play that want, the teammates to do well and all that kind of stuff. It's one of those things where I only watch Dolphins games as much as, I don't miss a Dolphins game. No matter who scored a touchdown, one of the first players in the end zone celebrating, Christian Wilkins. He's just like, I'm celebrating, with my brothers and stuff like that. Like you said, obviously Jeff Wilson scored a touchdown, but he was just one of the most hyped people. Like, listen, like every single person in that building wants everyone else to succeed. Mike Gesicki is always like, when Durham Smythe got paid, he was like, "This is amazing." He was like, "I want my even if Smythe getting paid means Gesicki has to leave, like, I'm fine with that because my brother's eating good." So yeah, I need the Dolphins to find a way to pay Gesicki, Wilkins, and
Tua, Waddle, just everyone, man, keep them forever.
But if they can't, then I need this team to win a Super Bowl this season.
Yes, you're right.
And say to these guys, listen, go and enjoy yourself. Go
Yeah.
and get as much money as you can in the open market, but just know we will always have this thing together. And it's one of those things where, I'm sure, worst case scenario, those guys do leave. They'll always have these memorable moments and all that kind of stuff. But I would just cap it off as a Dolphins fan to see them all get a ring together. And, in 50 years' time, to be all on the field and talking about that time they won a ring and then they went off and, listen, had we traded Mike Gesicki on trade deadline day, I wouldn't have been angry. I would have wanted him to do well, for that other team. I don't think doesn't come at the expense of the Dolphins. But no, morale in this team is just a wonderful, wonderful thing to see at the moment.
I'm shocked he wasn't packaged into that Chubb trade. When I first saw the notification pop up, I thought he was going to be part of that trade.
Yeah, that could have happened. Or even Green Bay was in for Darren Waller and Claypool. So that could have happened too.
Mm-hmm.
I said this before on this podcast. When the Miami Heat had LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and D Wade, we became villains. Like the whole world hated us, and we was just like the team to hate. And it really felt like, it genuinely felt like Miami versus the world. And in the same breath, that's what it kind of feels like right now. No one wants to give us any credit. People hate Tua for whatever reason they have to hate Tua, and no one wants to see us do good. And even some of the Miami fans don't know how to win, right? So this is to the Miami fans. Like, it's okay to feel like good about it. Like, yo, this is what it's like to be on the up and up. You know what I'm saying? So when Gesicki does the gritty, when we're down 21 points and he scores a touchdown, Twitter gets on him and says, oh, look at the scoreboard. This is cringe. Like, you're losing, bro. Like, nah, bro. Like, he knows, like, what the morale is on the team and how live the sideline is going to be. Next thing you know, it sparks something. Team comes back. We win. I'm just saying, look, man, most said is different. Morale on this team been different. And I like where we're going. If you stayed this long, William Hayes interview, former Miami Dolphin defensive end, is coming to Go Time Dolphins. Y'all turn on notifications, share, like, and subscribe to find out when it's coming out. Zach Bush, man, we appreciate you, bro.
Man, I appreciate you guys having me. If you guys ever want another person to hop on, it's been really fun talking to y'all. Y'all know your stuff, so don't hesitate to reach out, man.